Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Yeah, I've done it pretty fast. I didn't get too much time yesterday
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do it,
sure.
but I'll just show the top line. I mean, that's what got me very excited. The top line growth of this company. So about Digvi Talk Transfer, it's a play on the premium automatic passenger vehicle segment. So basically, your XUV 700, Thar, and all. Uh, the stock is expensive, but I feel it has a great future, and it is the only listed play in the 4x4 or AWD vehicles, right? And as you go through the company, you'll see that all the who's who of the Indian automotive industry are their customers actually, and they are actually getting competitors taking the same powertrain solution. I'll dive a little deep into the growth of the company, then we'll go into the product, or maybe we can do the other way. So Digvi basically started in 1964, and then I think one major activity was the that's missed over here. It was there in the website. So they were the first one to provide that 4x4 for Tata Safari, that old Safari, right? And they had a lot of JV, and they worked with Tata quite a lot. And then it was kind of acquired by Borg Warner or something, and then Borg Warner allowed it. I mean, there was an exit from there, and in 2019 this was one of the major activity. I mean, they they almost got they get the transfer case business from Mahindra and Mahindra. I'll explain what is a transfer case, but it's a very important component with respect to four-wheel drive vehicles. These are those off-roading vehicles in Thar and all. Also they have some Russia business and all. uh, and they have also been doing the same business for Mahindra's XUV 700. And finally, in 2021, they got the EV transmission business from Taco. So basically, all your Nexon EV and all your Tiago EV, these are getting this sort of transmission. It has still not started because Tata Motors is currently importing all of these transmission system. That's what this management also says, and I also did it found from Scuttlebutt. Uh, and from mid of this year, they are going to supply that so that they have localization of it. So Tata Motors will basically take all this transmission systems from Digvi. They also got transfer case business again from Force Motor. So these are some of the main highlight. They are also a supplier to Toyota, as well as another company I forgot, MG. Yeah, the current shareholding is something like this, almost 60% ownership. Now we'll talk about the product. So you have basically the engine sitting in over here, and this engine gives power to your. So this is, imagine this is a rear wheel
Gaurav,
drive. Yeah,
sorry,
can you
can
hear
you
me?
use the pointer for this
Ah,
slide
sorry.
to,
Sorry. My bad, my bad.
yeah, it'll be easier for us to understand.
Better.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is the engine. Partially, it looks like an engine. I couldn't get a good photo of it. This engine sort of gives power to your front wheel as well as to your rear wheel, right? This sort of a system. Your rear wheel, if it's a rear wheel drive, it will have a differential housing. It will have a propeller shaft which connects the engine to the rear wheel. It will also have a gearbox and a rear axle, right? So this is basically where Divgi kind of operates. This sort of region. Um, let's go one step over here. So imagine this is again an engine. For a four-wheel drive, what you have is you have this transfer case. The purpose of the transfer case is to kind of split power between your front wheel and your back wheel. Now, why do you need power to be splitted? It's mainly because when you are, say, off-roading or going on some muddy region, it might be possible that two of your wheels are stuck in some gadda with a lot of slurry. So these wheels, they are not able to generate enough friction to climb up or to kind of give that propulsion force to the vehicle. That is where your back wheels, they would give this propulsion force so that your vehicle sort of moves out of that sluddy sort of a situation. So in Indian Army and all other places, I mean, most of the vehicles that you will see is four-wheel drive because they are traveling through extreme terrain. It's not like asphalt roads, right? So that is where this thing is very important. Any question up till now on this one? Anything
yeah,
that you don't
yeah.
understand?
I have a question. So,
Yes, please.
what exactly do they make? Only the transfer case.
No, they make a lot of things. I'll come over here. These are some of the
Okay,
items that they make. Uh,
okay,
I just want to highlight on this transfer case, which is their existing business.
okay.
So in this, I mean, general transmission from motor to wheel, how the power gets transmitted. Any questions over here? Anything that you don't understand?
So, the transfer case is a purely mechanical component.
Yes, it's a mechanical component,
Okay,
and it's only present in four-wheel drive vehicle or all-wheel drive vehicles. It's
got
not
it.
available everywhere.
Got
You
it.
usually have a front wheel drive because that is the cheapest. So all your Maruti cars, all your almost every car actually in India, to reduce cost, they will have to go with front wheel drive. Whereas
Right.
sporty vehicles like the BMWs, they will have a rear wheel drive. Rear wheel drive gives you a very good turning acceleration, so your kind of vehicle is stuck to the ground because your weight is uh, kind of distributed across your entire vehicle. This place, yeah. So that sort of a situation.
Got it.
Okay. So what does Divgi make? So Divgi is into multiple activities over here. They make manual transmissions and synchronizer. So synchronizer is needed when you shift your gears, right? They make this torque transfer system and torque coupler. This is what I was saying. These are for your what do you call four-wheel drive vehicles like your Thar 4x4, your XUV, and all. They make transmissions for electric systems. This is basically used in your Tiago EV, Nexon EV, and this is one of their biggest business. I mean, this upcoming business that is coming up, and that is what is getting me very excited. Also, their dual clutch transmission. Now, this is very specific to Volkswagen. Volkswagen are the are I mean, this Skoda, for example, Skoda's automatic, and they use this dual clutch transmission. What you do over here is this is like an automatic system, but it's a much more refined system compared to an AMT. AMT is automated manual transmission, which you have in your Maruti Expresso or your Quid. So, so in an AMT, what happens is the driver does not shift the gears; it gets shifted automatically, and the controller, the electronic controller, they shift the gear based on your speed. But in a but the problem with AMT is you will always feel that lag. So suddenly, when you're accelerating, you might not get that power. But in a DCT system, what happens is there's two clutches. So basically, there is no lag. So when one shift is happening, the other has already engaged. So there is minimum lag. So you don't even feel that lag or loss of power, and the car just zooms out, right? So this is used in a dual clutch system, and that's also very expensive system. And most Indian OEMs do not have this technology, and it's also very complex technology. So it's very interesting that Divgi has made some uh, JVs with an European company and called Hofer. So they are pretty big in this space also. Any questions in the systems or the products that they are making? Okay, I'll move on. So based on the component, I mean, there was a slide which is very interesting. So your torque transfer system, they go into your IC or four-wheel drive. Manual transmissions goes into your manual vehicle. Synchronizers go in four-wheel drive, manual as well as automatic vehicle. Your dual clutch goes into automatic, especially the Skoda. I think they would have a big order coming from Skoda in future and Volkswagen. Transmissions, these transmission for BEV, they are into the battery electric vehicle. So BEV is battery electric vehicle. And they also have a component business. So these small caps and all, bearing and all, they are also a part of it.
So,
Now,
Gaurav, what
yes.
is the key difference between EV transmission and ICE transmission? Like at a high level, if you can just explain.
There aren't many difference. In fact, it's a simpler system. What I'm not able to understand is why is that price so high? This is something even I'm very curious about. In an EV transmission, you don't really need. I'll just go one step back. So in a manual transmission, you have multiple gears, right? 1 to 5. You
Hmm.
need these gears because you play around with power. So your power can be decomposed into the speed and the torque. So basically, speed is the speed at which your vehicle is running, and torque is the amount of, say, force that your wheels put on the ground. So what you do is you interplay with them. Your power is imagine your power is constant. If you have a higher gear, you will get higher speed but less torque. If you have a lower gear, you will get less speed but higher torque. So basically, you will use your speed, I mean, your low speed for, say, climbing up a terrain, right? There
Right,
you need higher torque because you need more friction on your wheels. Whereas on a
right,
highway, when you have high acceleration because you're running at a I mean, higher speed, your lesser kinetic energy and all, you have momentum. There you only need to kind of have as much energy to keep your velocity constant, say, for example. So just very small amount. There you can go into much higher speed, right? So that's a manual system. Now, for a EV, this system is not required because your motors, they have very high starting torque. So a motor has, if you look at the motor characteristics, say a PSSM motor, they have very high starting torque. So that takes care of all the uphill climb and all of those things. And as your speed kind of goes up, so it will have very high RPM. So you don't need some sort of a gearing system to increase your RPM as well, right? So
So
that's the key difference. But however, because your system has to work in such a large range, your NVH, that is noise, vibration, and harshness, that is very complex in an EV system compared to an ICE system. Because in an ICE or in a sorry in a manual system, sorry, in a manual system, because you have individual gears, so you can kind of control, because say from 0 to 20 only one gear will be engaged, so you will try to model those gears so that there is not much noise or harshness or vibration in that specific speed, because sometimes at a certain speed these components starts vibrating a lot. However, for the EV, because you have one gearbox, you have to have that constant over a large range of speed and torque, and that is what makes this system more complex and expensive. That's what I understand right now.
so
Yes, yeah.
Gaurav, for EV, you're saying there's only one gear.
Yeah, I mean one transmission system, just one gear.
Okay, and the
Yeah.
transmission system, when you call something transmission system, that is
Hmm.
basically the gear system, is it?
Yeah, gear system. So
Also the
imagine,
axles, etc., or only the gear?
yeah. So imagine the Tiago EV. It's a two-wheel drive. Right now we don't have any four-wheel drive vehicles.
Hmm.
So what you would have is you would have your motor over here. This motor would be connected to. I mean the motor will have a shaft. That shaft will get connected to your your
Wheels.
no. It will get connected to this transmission system. From
Okay.
there, it will get connected to the wheels through a
Okay.
differential.
Okay.
In vehicles such as Rivian, so they have a, I think, four-wheel drive system. So here they will also have a transmission system over here. They might have a motor over here as well. So there are, companies are kind of experimenting with motor placement. So they're placing a motor at front, they're placing a motor at back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that you
Mm-hmm.
can distribute power, because your battery is in the between, and it can kind of divert power either in the front wheel or in the back wheel. So the EV powertrain is amazing in that aspect. um, yeah,
Got it.
so you have, the only problem is you have a range of speed, and your system needs to be adaptive enough to that range of speed, right? And that is
Got it.
also what RACL GearTech is also speaking. You might have seen that RACL GearTech says that their EV, their EV gears, they are of very good margin.
Right.
Yeah, that's mainly because their range of operation is very high. So
Right.
they need very high levels of surface finish and polishing and all of those applications.
Right. Got it.
So questions, anybody else? No? Okay. All right. So what has got me exciting in this case is their projection of numbers. So the transfer case, that's supposed to grow at 25 to 28%. Now remember, these are all premium vehicles. Okay, these are all four-wheel drive premium vehicle. This transfer case and torque coupler, they go into these four-wheel drive automatic vehicles. Transfer case goes into also manual. A torque coupler goes into automatic. Synchronizer, they are used everywhere, so that's growing at normal 10 to 13%. And they are also they get replaced once in a while. I think 2 or 3 times over the lifetime of a vehicle. Manual transmission, not so great. Slow growth, which is expected. Dual clutch transmission, that's also growing at a very fast pace, and EV transmission almost 77 to 80%, right? And if you look
So,
at the unit price, yeah, please,
yeah,
please
sorry.
ask.
Why is torque coupler EV transmission? I can understand. Why
Hmm.
is torque coupler, transfer case, and dual clutch growing at such a high pace when your auto industry is growing only at single digits?
Because of the premiumization, and that's present in Mahindra's presentation, con call.
Okay. So these
Mahindra
are
will,
these will
yes,
only go in premium vehicles.
yeah, these go into premium vehicle.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are vehicle priced above 20-25 lakh rupees.
Got it. So they are saying the volume is only 11,000 in
Hmm.
FY22 for say a torque coupler.
Yeah,
So that gives you an idea, only 11,000. So must be like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
got it.
because not everybody buys a four-wheel drive, but torque coupler goes into all automatic vehicle, and you will see a gradual shift of people going from a manual system to an automatic system. I have seen most of my uh, colleagues, friends, they prefer buying an automatic system. New time buyers, they are preferring buying an automatic system. Old
Got it.
enthusiasts are buying manual system, but it's very complex. There has been a shift. If you look at Mercedes, for example, all their high-end vehicles are automatic. In fact, you have to pay more for a manual system. I think there's a BMW. car, I was looking at that video, you have to actually pay almost 1 lakh rupees more for a manual system because it's so rare.
Got it.
Right? Yeah.
So, can you tell what is the driver for each of these? Like for some, driver will be shift from
Okay.
manual to automatic. For some, it will
Okay.
be EV.
Okay. So transfer case. This is for this one is off-roading. So lifestyle vehicles, off-roading
Okay.
vehicles, right?
So
This is the driver.
SUVs
SUVs,
basically.
exactly. The Thar kind of a vehicle. You see a lot of Thars on the road, right?
Right.
Yeah, that. And then XUV 700 with all-wheel drive. Even Tata is probably going to come up with one all-wheel drive vehicle.
Right.
Torque coupler is going to go into the transmission systems. So automatic transmission.
So
There you
wherever manual to automatic is happening,
yeah.
even for cheap cars, you need a torque coupler.
No, in cheap car you will get a AMT. So in my
Okay.
Quid, I have an AMT. There
Okay.
you don't
Okay.
have this. But AMT has serious flaws. I mean, if you are paying above 15 lakh, you more or less get this torque converter. I think
Got
in
it.
Tata Nexon there's AMT, but in Harrier and Safari, they have torque coupler.
Got
Even
it.
for Mahindra's all, you know, above 15 lakh, 16 lakh, you get this torque coupler.
Hmm.
So this is a more refined sort of a gearbox.
Right.
Synchronizer, they are used everywhere. Manual transmission, again, these are at industry rate. Manual
Right.
transmission.
Right.
Dual clutch transmission. This is again premium vehicle, Skoda type vehicle.
So
28 to
torque
30%.
coupler and DCT, they go together.
They go no, they don't go in the same vehicle. So either
Okay.
OEMs can go for torque coupler or OEMs can go for DCT. So
Okay.
DCTs are more performance oriented. They are even better when it comes to performance. So
Okay.
Bharini's car would be more smoother than a XUV, and torque
Okay.
coupler are much larger. DCTs are also more expensive,
Hmm.
and they are very complex technology.
Got it.
Right?
Got
But the drive feeling is amazing in this one. Right?
it. Got it. Are you also covering competitors for Divgi or
There is no competitor. I
there
didn't
is
find competitors.
no, as in like for example, so for four-wheel drives, are you
Huh.
saying that whatever four-wheel drives are getting manufactured in India, Divgi is the only one supplying
Yeah,
transfer case?
yeah. For Mahindra, they are doing it. For Force Motor, they have got the order. For Tata
Okay.
Motors, they are getting the order. For Toyota, they are getting the order. So they have all the who's who of the industry.
Yeah, but see, Gaurav, as far as I know, every OEM will have at least some redundancy, right?
They are
Like
imported. Most
they're
of it is
imported.
imported.
Okay, so
Yeah,
this is
there aren't.
import substitution.
Yes, in most of the cases,
And
because
DCT also, so far you have not found any competitor, is it?
no, there's no. I mean, DCT was anyways getting imported in India.
Then it becomes very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a localization play. That's what these guys are saying now.
Yeah, but like, tell me something, Gaurav. Like,
Mm.
what what do they have that other auto ancillaries for so many years in India haven't had? I mean, I know Sona Comstar is also a story like that. So, what is like their huge spends in R&D? Like, what has made them have these capabilities? Such a small company.
So they're huge. Yeah, they have spent in R&D. They have been in the industry for quite long time. They had, they have. I mean, I was showing you this slide, right? This first slide. They came into the industry in 1964. They
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
co-developing with Tata Motors. So they had a lot of JV on the way. I mean, if you look at their website, maybe I can open and show it to you.
Hmm.
So you will see that they have a very rich history with respect to this, and
Right.
they also had a. I mean, they have good license agreement with BorgWarner. So
Hmm.
BorgWarner is one of the supplier for, I think, multi Ford and all of these cars in US.
I see.
Right. So through JVs they have kind of ramped up and they try to address the Indian market. Now in India, these businesses never picked up. I mean, see, you
Hmm.
can get a two wheel. I mean, this manual transmission, you can get lots of vendors,
Yeah.
but these cases they never picked up. I mean, even this 4x4. So
Hmm.
Tata Safari actually brought out a 4x4 in 1998. Nobody actually bought it. It was very low sales. That's one of the reason Tata in their Nexon, in their Harrier or Safari, they never
Hmm.
came up with a 4x4. But
I see.
but Mahindra took a leap of faith, and they are seeing amazing result. Even for me, when I'm going to purchase a car, I will never buy a Tata now, the top end model, because that capability is just missing right now from Tata's portfolio. Because
Hmm.
Tata had a bad experience with it.
The
Yeah,
four-wheel drive capability.
four-wheel drive capability. It's a
Okay.
small segment, but it's a growing segment because
Hmm.
see, as people travel more, they would have. I mean, you don't want to have a car which you are purchasing at 30, 40 lakh rupees, which cannot climb, say, in a snowy condition, or
Yeah.
it just breaks apart in a condition, right?
Right.
In a muddy condition or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't
No,
go to
makes sense.
Ladakh with it. So people do think about those things when they are purchasing a car of 20-25 lakh rupees or
Right.
above. Yeah.
Right. Got it.
So these are more or less the drivers of growth. And I could not find any competitor for them because most of them, even the EV transmission, which Tata is doing, they are also importing it from Korea, I think. So this is something I also want to check with you if some import data is available for them. Yeah.
Sure.
So I mean, from there, whatever values that they had, I think this came from Crystal. It was there in their DHRP as well. The unit price is more or less accurate in my opinion, except this EV transmission. I can't believe this is 1 lakh rupees. I feel like this should be around 50,000 rupees. Transfer case is almost 40,000. Torque coupler 23. Synchronizer are like 6,000 rupees. Manual transmission is 36,000. Dual class is almost 1 lakh rupees. And EV transmission is also 1 lakh rupees. This, if it is 1 lakh rupees, this company will grow at a massive speed. If it is not, even if it is 50,000, it will grow at a very good pace. So
Right.
their customers, I mean, they have Tata Motor, all the EV parts are coming from them, Tiago, Tigor, Nexon. Since they have been co-developing, there's a lot of stickiness to in this business. For their Mahindra Thar XUV 700, MG Gloucester is there. Toyota Hyryder, Hycross, Grand Vitara. Now, Grand Vitara is also a very popular vehicle because it's one of those what do you call hybrid vehicles out there at a very reasonable price. So people are kind of considering Grand Vitara. I think if you look at April or May sales figures, they have been very good at sales. So they have JVs across with all the OEMs in the country. They have export right now, it's at 6%, but they expect that export to go up by 25% from North America, Mexico, as well as Russia. So due to Russia-Ukraine war, they had a dip in export, but they expect that export to go up. In Russia, you will see a lot of 4x4 vehicles because of that snow condition. Now, their Shrival plant, which is dedicated for EV, they are going to generate around 400 gearbox per day. These are these EV gearbox, which I was saying, 1 lakh rupees. So their nominal capacity is of 1 lakh. So that goes down to 1,000 crore, actually, if they do it at full capacity. The plant is going to start its production from June, July. Their current work in progress is 80.9. Management says that their EBIT margins would be more or less constant. They have a current EBIT margin of 27%, but I consider like 25%. They have a
Gaurav, sorry,
yeah,
one question on point number three. So 400 gearbox per day. Yeah.
per day. Yeah,
So if you multiply by 360, that is how much?
1 lakh
About 1 lakh.
46.
Yeah,
1
1
lakh. Yeah,
lakh,
yeah,
right?
above 1 lakh. Yeah.
So how much are we selling today? How many EVs
So
is India selling?
I'll come to that. I'll come to that.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
okay.
a slide for that one.
Hmm.
Uh, and there they have. What I feel is whenever these guys are setting up line with them, they kind of decide on the capacity. So Mahindra, for example, have the capacity. So they are running at low capacity right now. They have a lot of operating leverage built into them. Next is the product development agreement is there for DCT. So that's another technology. I mean, another driver for growth, as well as technological license agreement with Borgward. Just quickly on the financials, they have been growing pretty steadily. The EBIT margins kind of fluctuate between 22%, 28%, 26%. In this quarter four FY22, I feel that this EBIT margin was lower, mostly because they were sitting on capacity which was not utilized. Because if you know these vehicles, for example, Thar and XUV 700, they were not selling because of the chip issue. Now
Yeah,
this chip issue is getting resolved, and also Mahindra is increasing their capacity by 50%. So we will see great numbers over here. I mean, I think we would see around 28%, but conservatively, I've put in 25% as their EBIT margin. So the PAT is growing. Their export is 6%. They expect it to go to 25%. The main business comes from this transfer case, which is 73% of the business, and this transmission component, which is 22% of the business. Transmission component is your those transfer, not transfer case, that this one, not coupler,
okay. So the main business right now is for four-wheel drive
4-wheel drive. Yeah, they have
and
absolute market over there.
only to Mahindra.
No, I mean they have two Mahindra, also Force Motor. They have an order book from them. from Toyota, I think Grand Vitara is a four-wheel drive. I
Okay,
think there's a four-wheel drive variant of this one. MG Gloucester also they have an order book from them.
got it.
Yeah, but Mahindra is almost 70%. I mean, it was 70% at
Mm,
IPO
mm,
of the total order book. They are the only ones who's playing around with four-wheel drive right now.
mm.
Yeah, and their moat is basically noise, vibration, and hazard. I mean, harshness. That's their biggest moat over there. Their revenue is kind of growing at 19.4%. EBITDA is growing at 22.36. PAT is also growing. So overall, it's pretty good. I mean, good, great ROCE. Zero debt company. Now, your question, Nirvan, how many cars are they selling? So if you look last year, Nexon EV was sold almost 27,000. Nexon EVs were sold. Almost 11,000 Tigor and Express T was sold, and 3,400 Tiago was sold, which was launched at the end of uh, the year. So
Okay,
it started delivering from I think February. So there was a huge order. I mean, this Tiago EV, the order was like 10,000 orders in one day. So if you add up, I mean, Express T already has a lot of what do you call? I mean, order book from Uber and Blue Smart and other such fleet
yeah,
operators. So you see an order book of 50,000.
yeah,
Tiago is for 4 months it has been 10,000. So and it's also very rising. There's a lot of demand for Tiago. And Nexon, anyways, it's I mean if I consider say 30,000 as the number, even though it's growing at a very high speed, even if you consider 30,000, so 30 plus 50 is 80 plus almost 10,000. So almost around 1 lakh vehicles they are going to sell by 2025.
right,
These EVs, and
right.
all the transmission is coming from apparently from Divgi. There's no other
Mm,
player in India who's
mm,
providing this, and this is an import substitution case as well.
right.
The management also says the same thing that over here the commercial realization is upon us, and Q2 I think made a reference to the slide. Uh, this numbers will pick up substantially, and the overall capacity is almost 1 lakh. And Tata Motors, they have been working with Tata Motors on this Nexon and the Tiago, Tigor, and even Punch and Ultros are going to come. And if you look at Team BHP, you will see people are waiting for Punch and Ultros to come. So the moment these comes, people will jump into that bandwagon as well.
Mm,
Okay. So I expect Tata Motors to have like around 1 lakh vehicles sales, and because their Ford plant is also up and running. I mean, they're going to be up and running, and that's dedicated for EVs.
right. Do you
What?
have anything on the growth of this company, like how fast you're projecting their revenues,
Yeah,
etc.?
yeah, I have it. I
Yeah.
have it in
Okay.
my Excel model. The company
Okay.
didn't say it, but they said like we mentioned it in the con call. So from the numbers that they're saying, it's over there. So this is from Mahindra. So Mahindra over here is saying like every month they are getting around 33. I think they're supplying 33,000 vehicles, and they're getting 57,000 new booking. So the order time or waiting period is almost around 12 months for each of these big SUVs, Scorpio N and XUV 700, and the cancellation is only 8% because there is no competitor to this vehicle. It's just dominating the market, and it's becoming this Royal Enfield type story also. The Scorpio and XUV 700. Scorpio anyways has a cult, so and Thar also. I mean, people want to purchase a Thar. So if you see what Mahindra says is SUV as a percentage of passenger vehicle is almost going to be 56% in FY26, which I also agree, because nobody, I mean, very few people want to buy sedans or hatchbacks. The moment you have a bit of money, you would probably go towards a SUV, and you're kind of making compact SUV. Nexon is a compact SUV, Punch is a compact SUV. So you're this India has a love affair with SUV. And Mahindra also says that they would get into the EV market by 17%. So Mahindra, with their born electric variant, they are also with, I mean, developing with Divgi. So we will also see sales growth from over here. And their LCVs, I mean, here there's not much possibility of growth, but yeah, that's kind of it. Another thing to note, not all Scorpio or XUV are all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Most of them are manual. Almost 10% is all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, but this number is also growing. Yeah. Okay. So my feel is Divgi can grow its PAT in 2 to 3 years, and I'll show it in an Excel table. It's a egregious statement, but let's see. Also, they have a lot of awards, and especially they get awards from Toyota. So that's considered very prestigious in the automotive industry. So just a second, I'll go to the Excel presentation. Yeah, you can see the numbers. Hello.
Yes, Gaurav. Yes.
Okay. So sales in financial year 23 was 271 crore. Okay. And if I consider Tata Motors by 25, so I didn't consider 24 because half of the year something will work, half of the year something will not work, and many products are in pipeline. By 2025, I expect all the chip shortages issues are gone and all. And since all Mahindra, Tata, and everybody have order book ready with them, from Tata, for example, their EV order book is almost, as I told you, 1 lakh vehicles. And if I even take the component price as 500, it would lead to almost 500 crore of revenue.
Gaurav, sorry, one question. This
Yes,
1
please.
lakh is your estimated order book, right? This is what you're projecting. This is not what management is saying.
No, management is saying this one. No,
Oh, management has said that we have from Tata Motors an EV order book of 1 lakh.
no. They said that that dedicated line is for 1 lakh uh,
Okay. And the line is
gearboxes.
only for TAMO.
Yes, that's what they have indicated, but I'm not fully sure of this one.
Okay.
I didn't understand that there was some interruption also over there, and they
So,
didn't take
so
too many questions also.
got it. So,
Hmm.
so far their largest client is Mahindra, but you're saying that Tata will overtake Mahindra.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Because in your EV, predominantly these guys are selling, no, and your EV growth is also growing. And as I told you, right, for 23, we already see an order book of 1 lakh vehicles, almost 1 lakh
Right.
vehicles, right?
Right.
So all those 1 lakh vehicles are going to be either, I mean, substitution will come from them, plus Tata Motors is importing all of those things.
So, have you been able to triangulate any of this through any Tata or Mahindra call, like import substitution, this theme of gearboxes getting localized, margins
No,
improving? No,
no,
right?
no, no. But margin improvement story is always there. See, the only place they can increase or improve margin is gearbox, transmission, motor, because battery they can't improve margin.
Hmm, hmm,
Tata
hmm.
Motors has been saying that we'll improve margin, and Mahindra doesn't care. Mahindra is anyway saying in the con call that we are priced above the competitors, and we are paying. I mean, we are premium priced.
Right,
So so Mahindra, I don't think they care about margins now. They
right,
can put whatever margin people are going to buy it.
right.
Yeah. Uh, then what you have is from Tata Motors. I mean, by 25, this is a bull case scenario again for me. I expect around 500 crores of business. Their export business to also should improve. That should be around 85 crore. I have not considered their component business, force motor business, Toyota numbers. This should be also very large. This is Toyota as well as uh, Maruti, right? This should also be very large, and Mahindra sales growth also I have not considered. If I only consider Tata Motors and their export, which management could give with certain amount of certainty, the top line should grow by 185%. And okay, maybe there might be some errors over here. Nirvan, you can correct me. So I'm considering 27% EBITDA. Sorry, I was telling that I was considering 25%. No, yeah. So if I consider 25% EBITDA margin, then it would be around 192 crore rupees EBITDA. Depreciation again, I kind of uh, took an average of it because this schedule plant is coming online in the middle of the year. So right now it's still work in progress. So I think by end of July or August, maybe it'll start operational. So depreciation for me, I mean the current, I think next fixed asset was 128 crore, and for FY24 it should be 209 crore. This CWIP will become net fixed asset also, so that will be a part of the gross block. Almost 12% depreciation as a percentage of net fixed asset. This might also increase. I'm not fully sure how this will work out, but I feel that on a bull case scenario, their profit after tax should come down to around 144 ish crore, and their, I mean, that should be in 2 years time period almost 168%. Yeah. So the market is also kind of factoring that in. The stock is trading at 49 PE, I guess. So market also probably likes this story. So
Yeah,
this
so
is
if
this is
this
basically.
if this kind of pat comes, Gaurav, then basically the stock is currently trading at 17x. If 145 pat
Hmm,
happens in FY25,
hmm,
then at current market cap, it's 17 times FY25 earnings.
hmm, hmm.
So, if they actually deliver this kind of number, they should be trading at 35 to 40 PE in FY25.
Yeah,
So that means from 17 to 35, 40 means more than 100% returns in 2 years if
yeah.
this kind of numbers get delivered.
Yes. That's my idea. I mean, this is something I'm taking as a bet. I really like the company, and as Bharini
Hmm.
was saying, like there are some businesses you would like to own.
Yeah,
So this is that sort of business.
yeah. No, it's very interesting.
I mean,
I'll read
yeah.
the con call today. They've only
Yes.
done one con call, no?
Yeah, you read the con call, you'll be
Yeah,
surprised with the clarity by which the management is speaking.
right.
It's absolutely gold. I mean, listen to the con call also,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they have all the customers. I mean, I was trying to find. I mean, what could be the problem? I mean, what could be the issue? And it was very clear that they are selling to everybody. And what made me very happy was they are selling to Toyota. So then they have a benchmark because most likely they are also selling for the Toyota Fortuner, all the transfer case and all for Fortuner as well.
Hmm.
So that should
For,
be pretty interesting.
Fortuner is four wheel, is it?
Yeah, there's this 60 lakh rupees vehicle, which is a four-wheel drive vehicle.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and the Toyota Hilux and all. Yeah. So
Got it.
so I expect India to have. I mean, there's been a lot of travel vloggers in the last 1 year. I've seen them getting more and more. I see them getting a lot of views with respect to all this off-roading, tenting, all those things. Waking up beside a lake in the mountain and all. And there is a change in probably how people see a car from a transportation vehicle to a luxury to a utility. And as this utilitarian approach increases, which is also what I feel, I also feel like a car should be more utilitarian. I think that is growing in the country a lot, and that's why you see a lot of Thars in the country right now, because it's an absolute dumb vehicle for highways, but you still see people buying it. Yeah.
Right. Ashutosh has a question for you, Gaurav.
Yes, please. Yeah, he's a Meki. He should ask.
Yeah, on the chat box. Can you read it or shall I read
Quality
it?
wise and price wise, Digvi products are compared to those obtained by automotive companies by means of export from other international. Hey, can you ask the question? I didn't understand you, Ashutosh.
Sir, I was asking that whether the quality of the products and the price of the products are like, how are they compared to other exporters, like from those manufacturers which are playing on international scales? How are their quality compared to Digby products?
See, from the quality point of view, that's why I put up that slide. I mean, because I came from an automotive industry, right? This is a benchmark. This Toyota Kirloskar, these stuff. So that means they are achieving almost near zero defect. I think they have like one defect in a million. That sort of a benchmark. So they are coming through that. So quality wise, there's no question, and even the management is saying the same thing. From a margin point of view, I think they undercut the competition through some extent, because that's what the management was saying, that their business is not just the system, their business is also these components over here, uh,
Okay, sir.
these items. Wait, I'll show you these components. And what it does is, because they are also kind of trying to cater to aftermarket and all of these chota chota businesses, what they have is they have utilization of it, and investments in these businesses sort of reduce costs over here. So cost reduction is a theme for them. So margin wise, I think they are a low cost manufacturer of this, and also a very reliable manufacturer. Else these big cars wouldn't have, I mean, these companies wouldn't have taken by what these systems, because the Safari or the Harrier, they are built on JLR platform, so they could easily take the components from JLR suppliers only, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to take it from Digvi. Even for Mahindra's XUVs are built, I think, on Sanseong's platform. They can also take Korean suppliers, but they are taking from Divgi. So definitely there's some cost advantage, and there's a localization push that is coming also. So let's see. I mean, I feel
Yeah,
it's not a
I
bad
had one
company.
more question as well. Like,
Yeah,
how different are the IC automatic transmission engines from the battery electric vehicle?
so as I told you, IC automatic transmission engines are, they're two things, right? You must have read it. You have your DCT, you have the AMT, as well as you have your torque converters, those
Mhm.
couplers, right? So that's a different sort of a system. It's very expensive, and it's a different sort of a system. For a BV, what you have is these small, I mean, this sort of a transmission. If you see over here, maybe I can. There's no good picture of this one. I'll try to get some good pictures of it. Okay.
Okay.
This is the transmission system that you have. Now the issue that I was telling you, right? These gearboxes need to operate without any noise from 0 RPM to almost, I think, 6 7 thousand RPM, or more than that. I think an electric motor goes around, I think, 20,000 RPM. So you
Hmm.
imagine all your resonance frequency does not, I mean, it should not resonate at those frequencies.
Hmm.
Means it should not have any sort of vibration, noise vibration. To reduce that, you need to have very good machining processes. So all this lapping and honing processes will come in, which will reduce the friction between these gear teeth, right?
Okay.
So that way it becomes very expensive. So they will have all this diamond polishing and all done in these EV transmission.
So like currently, are we not intended to reduce those vibrations effect in IC engine vehicles as well?
Yeah, you can. But in the IC engine, it's a more easier way because, say, for example, you're driving a vehicle from 0 to 20, right? You
Hmm.
have one gear. You have your first gear. So, so for your RPM, your omega, you know the RPM. I mean,
Yeah,
angular
yeah.
velocity.
Hmm.
Yeah, for your calculation of your resonance, your angular velocity is very limited. It's not outside that range. You won't drive your vehicle at 40 in first gear, right? It won't go at that speed. So
Hmm.
so you can have your resonance at 31, right? So you can get away with very poor finish. I mean, poorer finish compared to an ice,
Okay.
compared to a BV. Again, for your second gear, it would start from 20 to say 40. For third gear, 40 to 60, something like that, right? So you have a small range in which you are operating. That reduces cost. That gear manufacturing cost gets reduced. But when you have a gear which goes from 0 to 100 or 120, you need to make sure that there is no resonant frequency in between. So your gearbox design has to be far superior, and that's where
Okay.
their moat is also coming in. That's my point of view. Let's see how it, how it unfurls. But
Hmm.
since they have an order book from Tata Motors, and we'll get to know if they're selling to Tata Motors, we'll see great numbers coming up. So if
Hmm.
that is happening, then probably yeah. And day after tomorrow, I'll be driving the Tiago for a very long duration, so I'll get to know even better. I'll also ask the transmission guys. I
Okay.
mean the service center guys. Yeah. Any
Great,
other
Gaurav.
questions?
Very interesting, I think. I'll
Yeah,
study
yeah.
this further.
I should have invested in this company when I told
Yep.
you guys about it first. I should have
Yeah.
studied it at that time.
But if you're confident about your growth projections, you can still invest in it.
I have done already. I've taken
Yeah,
1% position.
yeah, pretty
So this
interesting.
this is an experiment. I mean, this is one experiment, and HEG is one experiment for me.
Right.
But why I gave this presentation, I think it's almost 1.5 hours. But one of the reason why I gave the presentation, which I think Rishabh also did very nicely today, was get into the meat of the substance. I mean, you tell what is the product, you tell what is this, and you get into the number. If it is interesting, maybe we can have a follow up with respect to all the board members and all. And but do the forensics. I mean, I skipped the forensics because I didn't have much time to do it. Maybe
Yeah,
Nirvan, what do you
absolutely.
think?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, that's what, because this set of companies is something we have already done a one level filter or we've heard from people. So we
Hmm.
know they are interesting opportunities. So our focus should be on trying to make the investment case. Everything else, if the investing case is interesting, everything else can be done, in greater detail after that as well.
Yes. All right. Cool. Then I think
Okay.
it's too late.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks, Rishabh. Thank you, Gaurav. Great
Thank
presentations both.
you.
Really enjoyed today's session.
Thanks. Chalo. Thank you.